Dilys D'Cruz is the Vice President and Head of Wealth at Meridian Credit Union, where she leads a team of wealth advisors across Ontario who are focused on helping Canadians achieve their financial goals. Dilys has been in the financial services industry for 30 years, and as a single mother of 3 children, she is passionately focused on empowering women of all ages to take control of their financial well-being. Welcome to the show, Dilys.
Always great to be here.
It's good to have you back. I've missed seeing your face. So
Yeah,
today we're talking about kicking financial advisors to the curb, and this seems a little bit counterintuitive.
We're going to kick them to the curb.
So tell me, why are women in particular doing this?
Yeah, so right now there is such a transfer of wealth happening with women, and I think let's just set the stage. There's going to be by 2026, there's going to be about they're saying 900 billion worth of money that's being transferred from women to advisors, because women are coming into money either through generational, their parents are passing away, or their spouse passes away. I hate to say it, but women outlive men, and so there's this big transfer of wealth. And so there's this opportunity here, and as we look at it right now, women aren't happy. There's been studies done, and women aren't happy with the level of service they're getting from their advisors, and the numbers as high as 87% of women are looking for a new advisor because they just don't feel that they're getting serviced in the way that they want to.
That's interesting. And is that because that is skewed through a male perspective, do you feel? So they just want that female touch?
Yeah, well, and the thing is it's interesting. It's about emotional connection, right? And that doesn't mean that men can't emotionally connect, but historically, advisors will sometimes, they're used to dealing with men. Men have, and I'm generalizing, but quite often men are much more focused on the numbers, the return. It's much more of a black and white versus really digging deep and having the conversations of where are you in your life? How are you feeling, and making it a safe space. And so I think historically, there's a lot of advisors out there still, by the way, that are very, very operate in that braggadocio kind of way, where it's like, oh, look at the returns I can get you and everything else. And so if advisors have not moved, male or female, in the direction that women, in terms of how they want to service, then they're going to lose. They're going to lose their their female clients because there are options out there. But interestingly enough, women also feel that they do not get approached by men advisors. 50% of the time they're saying, I'm not getting approached by a male advisor. So, we've been talking about this issue for years, and it's still there. It's still there.
Is that interesting? So, I wonder if that is because there's, this perception that, women don't make the decisions in that regard, or have the wealth to consider it.
Yeah, well, and it's funny you should bring that up, right? Because the numbers as high as 30% of women in Canada are the breadwinners. So that number continues to climb. And as we all know, like, women are, outnumbering men in the professional schools, whether it's going in to be a doctor or a lawyer or a dentist. Women, and even engineering, right? The numbers are climbing, if not outnumbering. And so you will continue to have women being the primary breadwinner and out earning their husbands. But despite that, the other interesting fact too is that within a year of a woman's husband passing away, women are actually changing advisors. Within a year, 80% of women will change their advisor after their spouse has passed away. So regardless of whether the women are out earning, they are coming into money, and if they're not being looked after properly, again, they're going to look elsewhere and go to an advisor, and so they should, by the way. Who's going to look after?
It's your money is a big thing. So obviously you have to have a relationship with somebody. So let's talk about choosing that right advisor then. Yeah. How do you recommend women find the right advisor for them?
Yeah. So whether you're married or whether you're single, I think your advisor has to pay attention to you. You know, I have a story right now where a friend of mine through this pandemic, and she has a significant amount of money. She's married, by the way. Her father passed away, and she has significant amount of money with an advisor for the last few years. She did not even hear from him during the pandemic. And when she called him, he took like days to respond, right? So in terms of how do you go about choosing, make sure you have to feel connected to your advisor. And if you go in and you feel that they're talking down to you, or they're using a lot of acronyms that you don't really get, then, ask them to explain it to you. And if they're not taking that time to explain it to you, or they're talking down to you, then I think you gotta just say no. You gotta shop around for an advisor and interview people. You know, it's like a friendship, right? You're gonna be in it. You want to be in this for the long term with your advisor, and so you want to make sure that you have a connection so that you can sit down and comfortably say, I'm concerned about this, right? You want to be able to be vulnerable with your advisor. If you're not, then, it's the wrong relationship. So you definitely want to make sure they're accredited. That goes without saying. Make sure they're accredited. And then really, how much are they getting to know about me? The conversation shouldn't be about them. It should be, how much are they asking about me, and really digging deep about what's important to me, my family, my kids, my parents. They should be asking those conversations. To me, that's one of the biggest things women need to look for.
Yeah, I agree. So, and especially when you're saying, looking for that connection, I imagine right now with this pandemic, like we know that this is something that is disproportionately affecting women, this pandemic right now. Yeah. And so I expect that the relationship with money is going to be much more emotional in the next little while for women. So that connection with somebody, and again, interviewing somebody is so important. It's really, I think I know in the past I've thought that, I wasn't the boss in that relationship, the financial advisor, but it's actually the other way around.
Right. That's right. And if they're not engaging you in that relationship, like, walk away. And you don't want the old school condescending approach. Don't worry, I'll look after it. Don't worry, you're okay. Right. Like, they need to take the time to understand what you're concerned about. Now, if you're married, here's what I really is so important. Women cannot abdicate the responsibility for their financial situation, because 9 out of 10 women are going to have to manage their money by themselves at some point in their life. And so, go in with your spouse. And I have, my peers, it's awesome because they meet with my advisors and they say to me point blank, and these are my, VP, peers, they say, we're not going with an advisor unless my wife's okay with them. And they're telling me too that their wife is looking to see if the advisor's making eye contact with them, right? So it's really important that your advisor, if you're married, you are engaged in those meetings with your husband, and they're acknowledging you and not just talking to one person. But it really gets down to, am I feeling heard? Am I connecting with the person? Can I trust this person? And can I share, what my deepest concerns are? Can I really be vulnerable with them? That to me is the most critical, because for me, the IQ is table stakes, right? I like to say the IQ is table stakes. It's the EQ, and how are they making me feel? And that to me is the most important. So, women definitely need to get involved. And if the advisor that they have, let's say with their spouse or their partner, is not there, then have a heart-to-heart with your spouse as well too, because God forbid something should happen to the spouse, then they're left with somebody who they can't connect with, and then they're going to leave, actually. So.
Exactly. So during this, so obviously, nothing is normal in this current circumstances. But if people want to connect with you and Meridian, how are you doing that right now? How are you facilitating those connections with your clients?
Yeah, it's been really interesting, and it's nice to see from a wealth management perspective. We have just adopted, and this is general in the industry, and I think it surprised all of us in the industry how quickly we adopted to this whole new environment virtually. And so here you and I are doing a virtual video. This is how we connect. Now, my advisors are back in the branches, so if people don't have the ability to Skype or do it virtually or not comfortable, then they can go into a branch. But if I believe you're going to see much more of this virtual communication with your advisor. So either or, the choice is there. If you go on Meridian, our website on meridiancu.ca, you can find an advisor near you, but you have the option to go in person to branch or do it virtually.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me today, Dilys. We're going to get all the links up on the video for this.
Awesome.
And I really appreciate you taking the time today.
Always great. Nice seeing you, Candace.
Bye.
Take care.